This week,
two rivaling households compete in a turkey blow-up race.
athletes sign their letters of intent.
Theater classes discuss a diverse set of plays.
A PSA about Millard's 3 C's policy.
And students zoom in for mock job interviews.
All here on the MWHS Wildcat News. Good morning, I'm Edison Geiler.
And I'm Jenna Reynolds.
We begin with the Friskop and Vaca families starting their annual turkey war. The Caddy Corner neighbors started to compete in a turkey blow-up race 4 years ago, buying and setting up as many inflatable turkeys in their front lawns as possible in hopes of having the most turkeys by Thanksgiving.
This friendly competition has even garnered the attention of local neighbors and news publications. Dana Summers and I have the story. As Thanksgiving approaches, many families fill their homes with fall decor. For the Vacas and the Friskops, however, a couple decorations here and there weren't enough. These two neighboring houses are in the midst of an inflatable turkey war that started roughly 4 years ago.
The Friskops, our neighbors, initially put up some turkeys, and they had, I think, 2 or 3, and we had 2, and then my husband looked over and was like, wait a minute, they can't have more turkeys than us.
All the while, the Friskop family had a driving force to buy more turkeys, which was none other than one of their youngest members.
Basically, if they got more turkeys, I would just go up and beg my mom to buy more.
The flocks grow a little more each year as the two families try to one-up the other. Currently, a little over 30 turkeys live in each yard.
So November 1st on Sunday morning, we got up and we took down the Halloween stuff we had and we started putting turkeys out because it takes a long time to put these all up.
These turkeys vary in cost depending on their size, and after selling out many local stores, the families have resorted to other shopping methods.
There's quite a variety. Locally, the smaller ones we're able to find, the 3-foot, 4-foot ones, and they're approximately $15 or so. The bigger ones run at probably about $20 all the way up to about $80, depending on how wide it is and how tall it is.
Both houses have turned heads from other neighbors and people passing by, making many cars slow down at the 3-way stop sign that they might have otherwise blown through.
The younger two think it's kind of funny, that occasionally they'll look out the window and they'll be like, why is there people stopped in front of our houses? And I'm like, because we have 30 turkeys in our yard. That's why.
Along with people in the area, this turkey war has also caught the eye of several news stations and even a large brand.
We've been on Channel 6. We were actually on the weather station, on the Weather Channel. They did a blurb about it. And then last year, the Wall Street Journal from Chicago actually flew a reporter in and did a report on us as well. And then that's when Jenny O Turkey said that they would match turkey for turkey and donate to the local Omaha Food Bank.
This extra attention that both the Vacas and the Friskops have gained has taken some getting used to.
I'll go to school the next day after being on the news and they'll be like, hey, I saw you on the news.
Although the families don't declare a winner, they still enjoy the competition and like to keep their new turkey additions for each year a surprise.
They're not all out yet, but we can't say that because we don't want them to put more out than us.
The turkeys will be taken down during Thanksgiving week, but the joy that this friendly competition brings each year will last both families through the holiday season. This has been Jenna Reynolds and Dana Summers with the MWHS Wildcat News.
Also leading up to Thanksgiving, Project We Care wrapped up yesterday. This year, the project asked QTs, classes, or other clubs to raise funds towards the purchase of gift cards and grocery vouchers for the 481 Millard families needing assistance.
Due to the increased negative impact of the pandemic, people could also buy 3 different packages to help families in the community. Early in the morning on November 12th, athletes signed their letters of intent, making their choices for which universities to continue their athletic and academic careers.
Parents, coaches, and friends observed 13 different students announce their decisions in Wildcat 1. John Willis and Tenley Wright bring you the details.
On Wednesday, November 11th, 13 Millard West students signed their letter of intent to the college they planned to attend. Friends, family, and coaches attended the ceremony in support of their athletes.
It wasn't the largest group we've ever had, and it wasn't probably the most publicized or most out there group as far as well known, but they had to struggle through not getting to take their college visits, and coaches can't come see them, and a lot of their communication and experience through the whole recruiting process was just difficult, and so it was really nice to see them reach that culmination through all that.
Each athlete has specific reasons for choosing the colleges they are planning to attend. For some of them, it was solely for the athletic department and the chance to play for that school. To others, factors like coaches, academics, and meeting new people also played a part in their decision of which college they chose.
I chose Colorado School of Mines because it best fit my athletic and academic needs. I'm super excited to get to play softball for another 4 years and study engineering and make new friends.
Millard West has a reputation for producing successful student athletes and preparing them for their college experience. The coaches have built a strong program that gives these athletes an opportunity to play in big games and get attention from college coaches.
Well, Millard West being a baseball school, you get to play with a lot of different guys, from names from Colby Gomez to Max Anderson to Tristan Gomez. I mean, there's different varieties of guys that go to different Division Is, and just being around those guys early at a young age as a freshman or a sophomore kind of prepares you pretty early to play at the next level.
With the uncertainty of COVID-19, there was skepticism on whether or not an in-person letter of intent signing would be able to happen. Administrators worked hard to ensure that players would be able to have this event and it occurring as normally as possible.
It's kind of a roller coaster. We really don't know week to week what we're going to be able to do in person, what we're going to have to do virtually, and things like that. I think once we got into the fall and we were able to complete the fall season, we knew that we were able to have some kind of signing. We went through all the different options, from breaking them up into smaller groups, doing them individually, bringing them in at different times, stuff like that. But with the restrictions that were in place at the time, the week before, we decided, with our gym, we could spread everybody out and we could do it safely.
We would like to congratulate all of these athletes and wish them the best of luck as they continue their journey into college. For the MWHS Wildcat News, this has been John Willis and Tenley Wright.
Drama director Brooke Phillips's advanced theater class has read a variety of plays during this semester. As a way to make the curriculum more diverse and expose students to different cultural backgrounds, the pieces they're reading are by writers of color made for performers of color.
Caden Roth and Annabelle Harshbarger have the story.
In an ever-changing world, there's had to be adjustments made to help students adapt to a new and overwhelming way of life. Drama teacher Brooke Phillips has included new activities for her advanced theater students in hopes of helping them relax and change their perspective through meditation and reading more diverse authors and stories.
I think the students benefit just by having a chance to ground themselves and center themselves, and to continue to hear and read plays that are from different perspectives that they might have. Stories are stories, and plays are powerful stories just as much as fiction. So they're just benefiting from getting, more perspectives in their lives.
Students are given class time to reflect and analyze the diverse work they read and start reading more.
Yeah, so the play that I just finished reading was a play called Eclipsed, and it was an all-female cast, and it was about the Liberian Civil War. And I really didn't know anything about that, so it was kind of interesting to read, and it was about these girls who had been taken captive as wives of army commanders.
They have welcomed these activities and changes within their advanced theater class and have developed new skills and insight through these diverse works.
I think it really helps me understand other points of views and then how people react to it.
Phillips drew inspiration for the emphasis on diversity from current events that have been prevalent over the past year and the limited perspective students have.
Well, a lot of the protests this summer, I was thinking about, how Millard West can't put on a lot of plays that are written by African American authors that are for African American performers, because we don't have that much representation in our drama department, which I think is kind of sad. And it's also sort of awkward to read a play out loud as a class that might not be intended for the voices that are in the room. And so what I decided is we should read those plays to ourselves so that we can be more familiar with the types of stories that are being told that we don't necessarily have the chance to show our audiences.
The change in perspective offers students new insights while widening their perspectives. These activities help students understand and manage the world we live in today.
This has been Caden Roth
and Brenna Batchelder
reporting for the MWHS Wildcat News.
Millard Public Schools announced a schedule change for the week of Thanksgiving. Rather than students and teachers attending classes on November 23rd and 24th, they will now participate in asynchronous learning. This does not mean students will have to join on Zoom calls, but teachers will still assign work both days.
The change comes at the heels of the surging coronavirus cases in Douglas County, though at this time, school will resume once Thanksgiving break finishes.
As another way to combat the rising spread of COVID-19, Millard is promoting their 3 C's policy, which stands for crowded places, close contact settings, and confined spaces. Avoiding these will reduce the risk of contracting COVID-19 or being around people who may have it. Here with the PSA, Annabelle Harshbarger, Caden Roth, and Brenna Batchelder.
With the spread of COVID-19 in Millard, it is crucial that students avoid the 3 C's. Millions of people worldwide were infected with COVID-19. Avoid crowded places to prevent the spread. At places like lunch where wearing a mask isn't an option, stay socially distanced and follow school precautions. The CDC states to stay at least 6 feet away from others when possible. Try to avoid close contact settings in confined spaces, and try to create some ventilation by opening a window or door. If you need a reminder, check the daily announcements or posters around the school.
The Nebraska Council of School Administrators recently selected Millard Public Schools Superintendent Dr. Jim Sutphin as the 2020 Nebraska Superintendent of the Year. He received the award at the Millard Board of Education meeting Monday this week. Congratulations to Dr. Sutphin on this achievement. Before we wrap up, students from speech and debate classes gathered in the library throughout the day on November 11th to hop on Zoom calls with practitioners as one of their biggest assignments of the semester.
The interviewees dressed from head to waist in formal attire as part of the rubric and answered a variety of questions about the mock job they selected for the project. Here with the coverage, Logan Mosley and Noah Walls.
On November 11th, the Millard West debate and speech classes held their annual mock job interviews, where students met with real interviewers from real companies. This year, due to the pandemic, all interviews were held on Zoom meetings.
Well, the first thing, we're not allowed to have guests in the Millard Public Schools, and so we just kind of last spring, we couldn't wrap our brains around how to do it, and then the summer school teachers actually did this via Zoom, and it worked out super great, and it was a lot to schedule last term with more sections. We have at least 5 or 6 sections every term, and then we get the interviewers. It seemed a little easier to get interviewers this time around because they can interview from their homes. I think a lot of them are playing games, but that's okay. And they're just sitting, we have them all log into Zoom, or they're reviewing questions and how they can answer them and questions they need to ask. And then afterwards they do their thank you letter and a reflection about the interview.
Each student was required to dress professionally.
I pretty much wore a button-down shirt and slacks and then nicer shoes.
Over the past few weeks, Ms. Jerome, Mr. Graycheck, Ms. Page, and Ms. Priest have all worked with their students to be the best interviewees they can possibly be.
I was nervous, but I was also kind of motivating myself.
Even though these interviews have no real job in sight, it is used to prepare these students for their future. For the MWHS Wildcat News, this has been Logan Mosley and Noah Walls.
That's all for this week. Make sure to follow us on our social media, visit our website, and check out our previous broadcasts. With the MWHS Wildcat News, this has been Jenna Reynolds
and Edison Geiler. We'll see you next week.